everyone, my name is Ashka and welcome back to my channel. So on this channel, I primarily produce video essays surrounding the Indian diaspora and Bollywood. However, as you can tell from the title of this video, I'm going to be taking a totally different direction in this one. So in today's video, I'm going to be talking about my experience combating PCOS and insulin resistance. I started this health journey. I hate saying that, but it has been a journey. I started this around 2 years ago, and my life has been completely changed. I live a life now that I never thought I would be able to because of my symptoms. And that might sound a little bit dramatic, but if you have PCOS or any other chronic condition, you know what I mean when I say something like this really impacts your entire livelihood in so many different ways. And when you're able to find solutions for those things, it is such a relief. So I compare, this revolution, if you want to call it that, in my life to wearing glasses for the first time. So I'm wearing contacts right now, but usually I'm wearing glasses, and I've had glasses since I was 9 years old. And I remember putting my glasses on for the first time and being able to see the little details in the eye doctor's office, and then driving home and seeing all the leaves on the trees in such detail. And I remember thinking man, I can't believe other people get to just live like this, they just get to see all these details in everything so easily. And they don't even realize how lucky they are that they can do that. And so that's very much how I feel about my health journey. I've been able to live a life that most people just get to live normally. I'm here to tell you to not take that for granted if you are so lucky to have that. Just to give you an overview of my symptoms before and after, if you will. So before, I had insatiable cravings. And if you know, I'm going to be talking more about that. I would wake up in the middle of the night every single night. It would be very hard for me to go back to sleep. And because of that, I wouldn't have a lot of energy during the day, and I would need to take naps almost every single day. I had headaches and stomach aches almost every single day as well. I was feeling very anxious and unmotivated. I had excess hair growth, which again, if you know, little chin hairs and whatnot. Exponential weight gain, going to the doctor's office every year and seeing that number rise, even though my lifestyle had remained consistent. My weight was going up at a rate that was not normal. And in my blood work, I had high cholesterol, high testosterone, high cortisol, high insulin, vitamin deficiencies. Now, my cravings are gone. I feel full and satisfied after each meal. I sleep through the night almost every night, which is crazy because I genuinely never thought I would be able to live a life like that. But I can sleep through the night. If I do wake up in the middle of the night, I can go back to sleep pretty much right away. I have energy throughout the day. My headaches and stomach aches are a lot less frequent. I feel better able to handle anxiety, or when anxiety-inducing situations come up, I just feel better equipped to handle those. I feel very motivated to exercise daily, which I'm going to be talking about. The hair growth is much slower. I have lost some weight, and most importantly for me is my blood work is now normal. So everything is green. Well, some things I still need to work on, some other deficiencies, but for the most part, my cortisol, testosterone, insulin are all normal. And to have my insulin be in the normal range is a huge achievement for me because it was very high when I started this journey. So just some disclaimers before I get into it. I am not a medical professional, obviously. And so I'm not really going to be discussing, what is PCOS or what is insulin resistance. There are a lot of videos out there that would explain it a lot better than I could. So this video is primarily to provide general advice and reassurance for those who are suffering with PCOS and insulin resistance, or those who are, trying to work on their health to resolve these issues. Like I said, I've been on this journey for the last 2 years and I've learned a lot, But honestly, it's also felt pretty isolating. You can feel very alone on this journey because, one, not a lot of people, at least for me in my life, have PCOS. And for those who do have PCOS, the symptoms present themselves in such different ways. You can feel very alone in the way that your symptoms present and how it's affecting your health. And if you have PCOS, you know that it's a very complex condition to have. People, whether in your real life or on the internet, might have advice on like quick fixes or things you can do to fix your PCOS, when in reality, it's very complicated. It takes a long time to figure out what will work for you. I think there's a misconception that PCOS is only a fertility-related condition, and it's not. It literally affects every single system in our body, and therefore it's very complex to actually resolve the PCOS. So I just want to provide encouragement for those who might be feeling stuck on their journey or aren't sure where to begin or don't feel motivated to begin. I thought it was impossible for me to live the life I'm currently living. And again, that's not to say that I'm done. I'm definitely not like done with this. I'll never be done. There's no cure for PCOS. It's a lifelong condition and we're always going to be trying to resolve it. But for those who are suffering, I see you. And I'm here to tell you that it is possible to heal. I never thought I would be where I am right now. And it's actually crazy how much has changed in my life to get to where I am now. But I'm so happy about every change that I've made. Also, I know I mentioned weight loss. I'm not going to be discussing details about the weight loss. I'm also not really going to be discussing this from a weight loss perspective or diet culture perspective. I'm very anti-diet culture and I'm very pro health at every size. So I subscribe to that belief. So I'm not going to be discussing anything in relation to weight loss or calorie counting or anything like that. I don't do any of that. And I'm still able to heal my PCOS. So that being said, let's get into it. So I basically have little tidbits of advice and then some kind of sub points within each bullet point of advice. So let's get started. First, it's not your fault for the way your body functions, right? A PCOS craving isn't a regular craving. It's because of the insulin resistance that we have these insatiable cravings. And, there's a reason for it. It's not just because we're gluttonous. The reason we can gain weight really fast, but it's almost impossible to lose weight is also because of insulin resistance. Even high stress levels with PCOS is in relation to high cortisol. You did not cause your PCOS. This isn't your fault. But unfortunately, we do have to put in the work to fix it. But I know a lot of the time we think that our lifestyle is the reason that we're suffering. And that's not necessarily the case. There are people out there who eat whatever they want, don't work out, who have perfectly balanced hormones, and we just don't. And so this is something that we need to work on when we feel ready for it. So this is kind of the baseline for my other advice that I'm going to give, which is what works for me might not work for you and vice versa. Everybody's symptoms present differently with PCOS. The severity of PCOS can vary from person to person. And so there's a lot of trial and error when it comes to fixing PCOS. There is also, like I said, no one thing that you can do that will cure your PCOS. It's a combination of lifestyle changes, supplements, medication if you need it, and it's going to, again, look different for every single person. I remember looking up advice for PCOS online, like when I was first starting out on this journey, and finding a lot of conflicting information. Like some sources will say, eat dairy. Other sources will say, don't eat dairy, avoid it, same with gluten or even like eating fruit, like people will have different rules. But ultimately what works for you is what's going to work for you. For me, I started working with Alara, which is a service that pairs you up with a dietitian and a doctor. And basically you meet with them pretty frequently at first. And then as you kind of move forward and get a routine, you meet with them around every 6 to 8 weeks in my case. Basically, they will create a customized plan for you. So my dietitian helps with like lifestyle changes and my doctor helps with any prescriptions that I might need. So that's been really great for me. They're also like, weight neutral. They also believe in health at every size. I would highly recommend checking them out. If you're able to, they also take some insurances. So the next thing is little changes go a long way. And you don't have to make huge sacrifices. People think, you have to cut out carbs to cure PCOS. You have to cut out sugar or dairy or whatever. First of all, that's not sustainable. That's not going to last for your whole life. And also, you don't have to do that. It really is about small changes that add up. Again, in my case, habit stacking has been really important for me. My dietitian kind of emphasized that throughout my time with her. So, like, for example, the very first thing that I started working on was eating something within 2 hours of waking up. Because for me, if you wait too long to eat, your blood sugar will spike, and you want to avoid that if you have insulin resistance. So for me, eating a little something within 2 hours of waking up kind of helps to stabilize that blood sugar. So that's like the very first change that I made. Habits take time to build. So you want to start small and then slowly add more things to your routine. And soon enough, you'll have a pretty solid daily routine that you can sustain. And sustainability is so important because, again, this is a lifelong thing. And so we want to make sure that the changes we are making are things we'll be able to keep up with for the long term. Another big one is how you feel is an indicator of health. For me, my blood work did not change right away. In fact, my insulin levels went up before they went down. But I was starting to see these lifestyle changes, and my dietitian encouraged me that this is also a sign that things are trending in the right direction. So, if you have energy throughout the day, you can sleep through the night, overall, you're feeling pretty motivated, feeling good, not having insatiable cravings or insatiable hunger, chances are you're pretty healthy. And if not, then something might be wrong. For me, the first symptom that I noticed disappearing was my cravings. I was craving sugar, after every meal, I wanted something sweet, which is, again, normal to have, a craving every couple days or whatever for something sweet. But I would crave it after every meal, and every time I would eat something sweet, I would want more and more and more, and it just never felt like enough. And then I started to notice that my cravings disappeared. I no longer needed something sweet. Yes, I would want something sweet every couple days or whatever, but if I gave that to myself, then I felt satisfied and I didn't need to continuously eat something sweet. After that, I started seeing changes in my energy levels and in my sleep, and therefore in my motivation as well. I felt a lot more motivated to be more active, to exercise. All of those things changed before my blood work did. Don't be discouraged if your blood work is not trending in the way that you want, or even trending in the opposite direction, because sometimes you might need a little something more, which I'm going to be talking about. And also, if you're feeling differently in a positive way, that means you are trending in the right direction, even if your blood work doesn't reflect that right away. So let's talk about exercise. I've learned that, a little something is better than nothing, and that exercise is not all about aesthetics. I think for a long time, I was exercising with the motivation that I would look different, or, I was thinking about external things, but there are so many benefits to exercise other than aesthetics and looking better. I had been working out consistently for the last 10 years, but again, nothing had really changed in my PCOS because, again, one thing is not going to completely resolve your PCOS. So the most important thing, again, is to find what works for you. For me, I have been obsessed with Apple Fitness Plus. So Apple Fitness Plus, I believe you can purchase it if you have a family plan with Apple, or you can subscribe to it annually. You do need an Apple TV, or if you want to use your iPad or whatever for it, you can. They have a lot of types of exercises as well as different durations. So I like to do yoga and strength training are my top two that I do. They also have Pilates, they have dance. If you have a gym membership or you have a treadmill at home, they have treadmill workouts. They have a lot of different types of workouts, so you don't really get fatigued in repeating the same thing over and over again. At least for me, I don't like repeating workouts. And like I said, they also have a large duration. So they have like 5-minute, 10-minute, 20, 30, and 45 for yoga. They have like all these different lengths of workouts. So depending on how much time you have, you can pick what workouts you want to do. You can also stack your workouts. So sometimes I'll do like a 10-minute strength workout and then a 20-minute yoga workout or something. If you have an Apple Watch, it also connects directly to your watch. So all the metrics that you kind of build while you're working out will all be on your Apple Watch. You can pause the workout, resume it, whatever, all through your watch as well. So it's really convenient. So this is what's really worked for me. But of course, like we all have our own version of like something that we can find and really enjoy. For me, like one of the biggest benefits of exercising regularly is it uplifts my mood. It makes me feel stronger. I have more energy throughout the day. You know, if I'm feeling groggy or whatever, actually working out makes me feel better. And I actually wrote in my notes, like, unfortunately, exercising daily makes you feel good. And again, I never thought I would like be into fitness or whatever, but I have noticed myself getting stronger. I have more stamina. It's just really fun for me. Like once you get into it, it can be fun. So whether you do it at home or if you like going on a walk, sometimes I'll go on a walk as my exercise for the day as well. But find what works for you and find joy in it, you know, and something is better than nothing. Going on a 5-minute walk is better than not doing anything at all. Pacing around your living room or whatever, that still counts. My dietitian gave the example of like doing body weight squats, like while you put something in the microwave for 1 minute, you know, stuff like that. Because again, kind of the smaller things add up over time. So highly recommend exercise, not just for the physical benefits, but it has a lot of mental and emotional benefits as well. So next topic is medication. So there's nothing wrong with taking medication if you need it. So when I first started my journey, if you want to call it that, I wanted to do the natural route where I was like, I'm just going to take supplements and, you know, find what works for me and that's going to be great. So I was taking like maximum doses of whatever supplements my doctor and dietitian were recommending, and I was not seeing the results that I wanted. There's a limit to what supplements can do. And sometimes we need medication. Now, I was very resistant to medication at first, but then I realized that I was pretty much maxed out on all the lifestyle changes that I could have done, like changes to my diet and exercise and, you know, everything else, the supplements that I was taking. I was pretty much maxed out on all of that, and I still wasn't seeing the results in the way that I wanted to. And I thought about it, how we think about, at least in our generation or my generation, we think about like anxiety medication or antidepressants, right? We don't question of like, why can't they just fix it themselves? But we accept the fact that, hey, you know, some people just need antidepressants or anti-anxiety medication for their brain to function normally. And so I thought about that for my own body where I'm like, you know what? I have high insulin. It just is what it is. And like, if there's solutions out there like medicine that can help me, I just need to accept it. I need to accept that I'm doing everything that I can and my body just needs some extra help, and that's okay. Taking medication really speeded up my progress and it amplified all the things that were already working for me. So whatever changes I had been seeing, they kind of accelerated because of the medication. And so if that's something that you're considering, there's nothing wrong with it. However, medication alone is not going to resolve everything, just like how I talked about diet and exercise. Like not just one thing is going to resolve everything. It's a combination of like medication, diet, exercise, overall lifestyle. But this is just one piece of the puzzle, and I think it's really an important one to consider if your doctor is recommending it. Now let's talk about diet a little bit. The first thing I want to say that I mentioned earlier is you don't have to give anything up. And sometimes it's about adding and not taking away. So one of the first things that I learned from a dietitian that really surprised me was that I actually wasn't eating enough. And I think a lot of the time we feel like we need to just eat less. And that's kind of the solution for health, right? To eat less and exercise more. But at least in my case, that wasn't actually helping. That was what was causing my headaches and stomach aches, because I wasn't giving myself enough to eat, especially if I'm exercising. I need to be able to sustain my energy by consuming food, right? So I'm not a dietitian, but my dietitian definitely emphasizes incorporating protein, carbs, and fat into every meal. And so when you have your favorite food, like pizza or something, you can still have that, but it also helps to pair it with something else. So for example, if you have like a side salad, you're still getting those nutrients from the salad, and then you can still have your pizza with it. Something that has helped me a lot is creating rules for myself in terms of like how frequently I can eat certain treats, but I definitely don't restrict myself. So for example, I used to get coffee once a week before work. Like I would go to a coffee shop and get a latte or whatever. And I changed that to every 3 weeks. So now I'm allowed to get a coffee every 3 weeks. I love Taco Bell. Taco Bell is like my vice for sure. I limit myself to like once a month. And a lot of the time, a whole month will pass and I realize like, hey, I actually didn't have Taco Bell this month. I think that has helped me personally to kind of still incorporate things that I enjoy. And then of course, like finding meals and recipes that are more balanced that you can incorporate into your daily routine. So if you guys ever want to see like recipe videos or food content or anything like that, let me know. I'm happy to share some of the things that have worked for me. My dietitian also subscribes to the 80-20 rule, which is like 80% of the time you eat your balanced meals, you're careful, and then the other 20%, not so much, right? You treat yourself. If you have a craving, you honor that craving, things like that. You can apply that rule in whatever way that you choose. For me, it's like throughout each week, like how many times a week am I giving myself a little treat? That should be maybe 20% of the time. And the other 80% of the time, I should be a little bit more mindful. So we still want to like look out for what we're consuming, but we don't want to be like hyper vigilant about it. And we also want to make sure that we're feeling full. Something else that I had to learn is to start eating something before I start to feel like super, super, super hungry, and to stop eating when I feel satisfied. And when you eat balanced meals, that's when you really start to feel satisfied, like not overly full, but like just that comfortable, like comfy fullness, right? That you experience. That is a really good sign that you're eating like a balanced meal as well. So my last piece of advice is that this takes time and progress is not linear. So PCOS is one of those things that is going to continue to evolve throughout your life. If you want to have kids and you're pregnant, that will change your PCOS. And then postpartum, your PCOS will change. When you enter menopause, your PCOS is going to change again. So this is something that we consistently have to work on. Give yourself some grace. I think online, especially, we see a lot of people say like, I lost 20 pounds in 2 months and I have PCOS and this is everything that I did. And you don't know if that's true. And also it's hard to cut out all the noise, but I think that is something that I had to do, where I'm like, I'm on my own path right now and I need to focus in on myself. Progress is not always linear. My insulin levels actually went up before they started going down. And so really just give yourself some grace, understand that this is such a complex condition and it's going to take time to find a solution. And that solution looks different for everyone. So to find that magic formula, to find like the key of what will work for you, it might take some time and it's okay to have some help along the way. So don't lose hope. And also if there's periods of time where you're not eating the most balanced meals, like right now it's the holiday season, we're kind of in that time where there's a lot of treats out there and it's okay. It's okay to indulge in all of that. It doesn't take away all the work that you've already put in. And once you have a routine that works for you and something that you are just used to. It's no longer something that you think about. It's just something that is your life, right? Like the meals that you have, the food that you have, like in the house, and your workout routine and everything like that. Like you'll know when you want to treat yourself and when you don't. It's going to feel like you have control. I think that's something with PCOS that is such a pain point for me, is that you feel like you don't have control over your body and how your body functions. And with all these lifestyle changes, like you start to feel like you have control again, or not even again, because I feel like I never had control until now, where I feel confident in the sense of like, okay, do I want to eat this brownie? Yeah, okay, I'll have it, and then I'm not gonna like regret it. I'm not gonna think about it too much because I know that like it's not going to disrupt everything else that I'm doing. Don't lose hope. There's a solution out there for you. It might take some time to find it, but it is out there for you. And of course, all the work that you put in, everything I'm describing right now, it might sound like, hey, she's not doing that much. And even from an outsider's point of view, it looks like I haven't changed all that much, but the truth is I've done a complete 180 on my life, like my lifestyle and everything. And it's all for the greater good, right? I think about like preventative measures, even exercising. I didn't talk about that, but for exercise, like I think a lot about like my mobility as I get older, my strength as I get older, and I'm really doing it for my older future self. I'm putting all the work in so that I can continue to hopefully thrive, throughout my life. Yeah, that's pretty much it for me for this video. I hope it was helpful. I hope it was encouraging. I would love to, make more videos about this. Like I said, I could do like recipe videos or like a week in the life or whatever of like workouts that I do or whatever it is that like you would want to see, if anything, or I'll just go back to my video essays. But I really wanted to talk about this because, like I said, I know it can feel very isolating. I know it can feel very discouraging a lot of the time. And I'm just here to tell you that it's not impossible. There's a light at the end of the tunnel, all the cliches, but you really got to be ready for it. You have to be ready to turn your life around. It can be hard. There were times where I felt very discouraged, but now I feel like I'm in a really good headspace and I'm really proud of myself for all the work that I've put in. So I hope this was helpful. Let me know if you want to see any more content in relation to this. But yes, that is all for this video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.